And here we go. We are live. Welcome everybody.
I
What's
forgot
been
how
what's
you
it been?
looked.
It's been I was gonna say it's 3 weeks. No, 2 weeks. 3 weeks. What's today? 3 weeks
Three
since
weeks.
the last live. So welcome everybody to BioBridge Live, where we try to connect Japan to the rest of the world in the industry of biopharma, medtech, uh, devices, whatever's in the life sciences. It's fair play. What do you think?
I think that sounds good. Life
Okay,
sciences, bio. I think bio is good.
bio.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as bio is not physics or engineering, or if
No.
it's bioengineering, it's fair play. All right. So, like I said, 3 weeks since we last spoke, and last time we had Tim Kendall with us,
Uh-huh.
and it was the day before Bio Japan. So
And
that's
you met him in
October 7th.
person, right?
Yes, I've known him since what, last year?
Right, right,
Uh,
right. Yeah, right after the episode.
so no, but I mean, I've met him last year
Right, right,
already.
right.
So I know him in person already.
Gotcha, gotcha.
And so this year, for those listening to this for the first time, I was in Japan from September 15th, so mid-September, all the way to October 19th. I left Japan, but I didn't go home. I continued my trip to Denmark. And so I finally came home. Here I am in my home office. Three big screens in front of me. Oh my goodness, I miss working from my home office. But
Yeah.
yeah, oh, a whole 40 days away, I think. I left September 14th, came
Mm.
back October 24th. And meanwhile, I was in Japan, Taiwan, Korea, Denmark, and within Japan, Osaka and Yokohama and Tokyo. I was supposed to go to Fukuoka, but that got canceled. So a whole 6 weeks of traveling. And yeah, we've been talking about this a few times
Yeah.
before I went to Japan, while I was there, and then yeah, and now's the time for some reflections. I thought,
All
what
right.
worked, what didn't work. Um, the four companies that supported my trip, and also I picked up a few little bits and pieces for my client in Taiwan, and also another client in the U.S. But the main part are four companies from the U.S. One in gene therapy, one in cell therapy, or IPS. One is a medical device, and another is I would say more traditional small molecule prodrug. So four very different types of assets, and I had a blast talking to lots of people throughout the 6 weeks. So I arrived on September 15th. Like I said, I left September 14th, arrived September 15th at the middle of the night in Japan, and then I went all the way to Osaka right away. And I had three events in Osaka. So already there, I was starting to meet some VCs and some other startups, and having a blast. And after that, I came back to Tokyo. Well, back, I think Tokyo is kind of my base when I'm over there. So I went to what is called the JPLA. So that's the Japan Pharmaceutical Licensing Association. But basically BD people from all the big pharmas and also some VCs. They get together once every quarter, and that happened to be September 19th in September, and the next one is somewhere around there, the third Friday of December, and then March, and then June. So uh, that one was an event that I wanted to go to. There's about 300 um, participants from various not VCs, but pharmas, and they had a little seminar first by one of the chosen companies this year, or this quarter, was Kyowa Kirin. So they did a little presentation on what their focus. They have some focus in gene therapy, their purchase of Orchard, their focus, et cetera, et cetera. And then they had a panel discussion. So the BD from Takeda, from Ono, and also again the Kyowa Kirin member were on stage talking about how to source assets from outside of Japan and how the, they were also talking about how the Japanese way fits or does not fit with the global BD practices and what the kind of stuff that we talk about.
Right.
So it was fun to listen to that.
So
Yeah.
how is it different, and how does it fit? And do you have a good
Well,
synopsis on that?
I think it's pretty much what we always talk about.
Yeah.
Uh, Try not to be too negative on the way the Japanese way is, although Japanese are very introspective. So they do say things like, we're perceived as mendokusai, like a
Yeah.
little very,
Tedious.
how to say, tedious, yeah, detail oriented, take time, that kind of stuff. But at the same time, they did say things like, that, being careful is not a bad thing. It's not always a bad thing. But you do have to go out there uh, and adapt. And so, yeah, I mean, that's the basic gist of it. And
Was there
then
focus, given that this is Japanese pharma companies that are there, was the focus
mhm,
on changing others or changing themselves or both?
I would say both, but it's usually more introspective. So we
Yeah.
need to be more like this. We need to be more like that. That's typical of Japanese.
Yeah.
Um, but I wouldn't say there's some magical new finding
Yeah.
from that meeting. But I did meet a new lots of new faces because I knew maybe 10 people out of 300. So
Mm.
it was nice. I got to meet folks from companies I didn't even know existed.
Mm.
So even all that part was great.
How is the foreign pharma representation there?
They're all there.
Yeah.
The Japanese affiliates
Yeah.
of Lilly, of Kyowa seconds.
Yeah.
Um, uh, who else was there? It's
The Pfizer's
the
probably there.
oh,
AstraZeneca's there probably.
exactly. CSL Bearing, an
Yeah.
Australian company. So those guys they're all there, but I would say more Japanese companies. I mean,
Yeah.
by definition, I mean we are in Japan, right? So more of the smaller Japanese companies, that I don't really that I didn't really know. Uh, some of these are public companies, but still they're smaller in scale than the Eisai's and the Takeda's and you know
Yeah.
this
And
company that I met called Perseus Proteomics.
mhm.
A very nice company, but not very big, but they're actually public. So,
Mm.
so there are lots of mid-size, mid to small public
Yeah.
companies that are also there.
Have you gone to the similar event in the past, or is this your
No, that
first?
was the first time.
I
That
see.
was the first time. So, like, my BD experience is not that very deep. I've only started really with Tetsunagi,
All right.
and I met some folks at JP Morgan this year in January. Some Japanese members from Taisho Seiya, Taisho Pharma, and they told me yes, there's this activity called JPLA that folks from
Mm.
various the BDs of all these pharma companies get together, and I thought, wow, I got to go to that. And then one thing led to another. I mean, Japan, Bio Japan is a must every year. So I started with that and I kind of worked backwards. Uh, but it ended up being Bio Japan October 8 to 9 and JPLA September 19th. That's like already 3.5 weeks apart.
Yeah.
So that was I had to find ways to kind of fill in the holes in between and also a little bit before and a little bit after.
Yeah.
And all in all, it turned out to be 6 weeks.
Did you use ChatGPT to figure out your itinerary at all?
Yeah, not the itinerary per se, but all the events. and
Yeah.
ask ChatGPT, what kind of events that I should go
Wow.
to that have like business development activities, matching and partnering and
Yeah.
all that. So yes, ChatGPT did play a big role in my itinerary this time.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah, I use it a
Yeah,
lot for itineraries, and I guess
yeah,
people do a lot as well. It does a pretty good job of figuring out how to get to which place by what time.
it's getting better by the day.
Yeah.
Um, every iteration, every update, it's getting better and better. It's just
Yeah.
incredible how fast AI is moving.
Yeah.
So speaking of AI, I mean, all these meetings I'm doing, I'm recording with this thing. I'm going to show you here. You see, this
Oh
thing is
wow.
called a high dock, and basically you just put it down on the table. It's like a recorder, but
Hmm.
once you connect it to the computer, it loads up on its app, and it basically downloads everything, summarizes it through ChatGPT,
Mm.
and it's all filed. So all my memos are filed. So all my meetings with, during BioJapan, they're all in order with the time, and
Wow.
so this it's a lifesaver. Like I can't take notes for the life of me.
So it's
So
a scribe. Is that a digital scribe device?
it's yeah, yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean, it's basically a recording device.
All right, right, right.
But
Cool.
once you download it, it downloads directly to the its own app,
Yeah.
and then you run ChatGPT. Like just at a press of a button,
All
you
right.
can it goes through ChatGPT or Claude or I forget which AI. I just use ChatGPT. It's very good at summarizing.
Very nice. Cool.
Yes.
So what's after JPLA? Where did you end up?
So so after JPLA, I went to Taiwan for a little family visit for a few days. So that's Saturday, September 20th. Went to Taiwan and then did a few things with the family, dinners and whatnot. Then I did actually take time to meet my Taiwanese client, a company spun out of the National Taiwan University, so the Todai of Taiwan, basically. And they have this natural compound uh, asset. It's not like you don't run a clinical study for it. It's what's it called in English? I don't know. It's 機能性表示食品.
Oh,
So
functional medicine, right?
functional medicine, is that what it's
Yeah,
called? Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah, but
guess.
you don't really need to run a clinical study for it.
Yeah, yeah,
You just need some data, and some publications and
yeah.
whatnot.
I
So,
see.
but there's like three levels. Like I'm learning all this on the fly. There's
Mm,
like three levels, and it's like the middle level. Like the lowest level is just basically natural products,
right.
not lots of claims.
Supplements, I guess.
This
Unregulated supplements.
middle, yeah, this middle level you can make some claims, but not extensively. But if you actually run a little clinical study, you can get the tokuho, like the
Right.
tokubetsu, whatever that was. I forget. Um, so they're kind of going for that maybe eventually, but they have the middle level and they want to
Mm,
just start with that and distribute because it's already on the market in Taiwan and they want to distribute in
oh, okay.
Japan. So it's more of a distribution thing and not necessarily a clinical study
Right.
thing that I usually do.
Interesting. Okay.
So a little meeting with them. Came back to Japan or to Tokyo on the 24th of September, and then I stayed all the way to October 14th. But in between, I went to this event, this pitch event at the iPark. It's my first time at the iPark, also in Shonan. It's huge, like bigger than I thought, and I actually learned that the this Shonan I Park is the second biggest um, building. Is a building or construction, uh, that exists in Japan, and the first one being Narita Airport.
Really?
So
Wow.
that's pretty impressive. Like that, it's the second one.
Yeah.
So iPark is a second in size. I don't know how they measure it, but I remember seeing like there was this big tunnel. It's like really long, and then it's like 100 and some companies in there, or 200. I forget, but it's huge. It's huge. I didn't think it was that big, but it's a little out there though. You gotta take a train out there and then take a bus or take a taxi or so.
Mm.
So it's a little bit like scuba, where the
Yeah.
research centers are a little far from the train stations. But very nice place. Lots of companies in there. They tell me there's lots of activities where they try to mingle and exchange ideas and there was a pitch event for 16 companies, I think, that were chosen out of I don't know how many hundred. They went through a few rounds of competition, and the 16 remaining ones did a pitch event. The number one winner got like 300만. I mean, I think
Mm.
what, $200,000.
Yeah.
That's not nothing. It's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
not 200,000, 20,000.
20,000.
But
Sorry.
20,000 US.
Yeah. 20,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
How,
So
what the, so the pitch, who were the judges?
the judges were VCs, were BD people, not BD, R&D, and some BD people from pharma. So Stellas, Open Innovation Head, it was
Mm.
there. CSL Bearings, VD guy was there. There was also AN Ventures, Takeda VD was there.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, all these kind of people. Um, R&D, BD, the people doing the licensing,
Yeah.
people, judging
Right.
these uh, these startups. There
Yeah.
were how many mostly Japanese, but there were quite a few Korean and a few Taiwanese.
Hmm.
And I think the number two was a Korean company, or number one.
So the
I forget.
pitches are in English then?
The pitches are in English. Yes,
Okay.
yes.
What do you think? Given that you and I, when we were in Boston for bio, we
Hmm.
saw a pitch event as well.
Yeah.
And then you've probably seen like, US pitches or Western pitches as well. Like, how do you think,
Yeah.
we've had issues? We've discussed in the past, I think offline, about the pitch
Hmm.
quality
Yeah.
of Japanese companies and how it doesn't
Yeah.
really resonate
Hmm.
in terms of impact. How do you think they did?
I think kind of know where you're trying to get with this, but this was actually pretty good.
Nice.
And the reason is these guys, before getting to this final round, some of the judges in there were actually like mentors for
Mm.
the company. So it's not the first time they're presenting to these judges. Sorry about that. Yeah, but they've actually had a few hours with the judges, getting feedback, back and forth, and then tweaking everything. So it was actually really good in that
Nice.
sense. So
So
that
that
was
was the
September.
event in my park.
That
So
was
that was your
September
pitch for
30th
the
at the iPark.
iPad, yeah. And then what's
Mhm.
next?
The next thing was Bio Japan, or the pre-Bio Japan event.
Yeah.
Well, I actually went to Tsukuba and met some ex ASI colleagues, and through these type of drinking parties and whatnot, I still talk about the assets that I have, and get some info around who should I go talk to for this asset or that asset. But formally, the next one would be the pre-Bio Japan event. That was the 7th, the night of the 7th. This was actually organized by Tim, who was with us last week, right? So last week we did this. It was like a few hours before the event. Actually, it was in
Yeah.
the morning in Japan. So yeah, and that was really nice. Um, More than 100 people, I think, showed up. All the CEOs of these small to mid-sized companies. Some of the big pharmas were there. Some VCs were there. Yeah. So it was a nice mingle before the main event. And
Yeah.
there I met some folks who discuss a little bit what I do, connecting Japan and the U.S. companies, and one of the guys, thought I should help him with his assets in the U.S. So
Wow.
so that got me a little bit of business, that little event. So all that is,
Congrats.
great. Yeah, yeah. So after that is the main event, Bio Japan. 3 days. Well, actually 2.5 days. 2.5 days because the morning of the first day, I actually had to go. I was in Yokohama, had my hotels, everything since the 7th, but I actually went back to Tokyo for the first morning.
Hmm.
Um, for one of my assets, we had to talk to a patient advocacy group, and just so happened it was on that morning of October 8th. So I had to go back from Yokohama all the way back to Tokyo, meet the folks, and then come back. So I really started my Bio Japan on the afternoon of October 8th, and then I didn't realize I was getting all these I was requesting meetings and getting requests, and I'm accepting, and things just sort of they line up in the on the platform, but I don't really realize how many there were. Before I download everything and upload it back up to my Google Calendar, and that's where I found out it's like back to back to back to back to back.
Wow.
I said no time to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
It's 25 minutes meeting, 5 minutes to move from one booth to another booth,
Oh, wow.
and and some booths are like at the other ends of the venue. It's pretty big, so yeah, but it was good. Got to meet everybody, and like I said, this
Yeah.
this uh, even with this, like some of the stuff I'm looking at the memo, I'm going, wow, talked about this, and I can't
Uh,
remember the names to the companies, and you know,
yeah.
yeah, I don't- it's
Those are my our doctor days when you're seeing patients and 4 per hour or 5 per hour, and it's like unless you write the notes right away,
yeah,
I'm not gonna remember who's who.
yeah. But now doctors they probably have all these AI
There are digital
memo pages.
scribes.
Yeah.
There's some privacy
Hmm.
people that don't like using it because of respecting privacy and whatnot. Because the data does go somewhere at the end of the day, right? Um, so there are users and there are non-users still.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Uh, I can't live without
yeah, I know. Tell me about it.
Oh my goodness. I mean, it's not just a matter of being lazy. It's like I can't listen and write at the same time. If
Yeah,
I'm writing, I can't listen. If I'm listening, I can't write. And if I try both, I'm losing something somewhere.
yeah.
So
So
anyway,
so a lot of meetings. Did you
lots
feel
of meetings. Yes.
a difference from previous years?
Well, previous year, as in last year, I was at Japan, but I did not do any partnering. Like I
Mm,
didn't. I was really helping out the Quebec squad.
yeah.
Like Quebec came with like 14 companies to Bio Japan last year, and maybe 10 companies this year. Um, yeah, so I wasn't with the Quebec squad this year, and I was really on my own doing all the dealings. But last year I was helping them, so I didn't want to like book everything.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah,
But
but like
like
I said,
the exhibition hall and all that, do you feel there's a difference? We talk
uh,
about Japan's up and coming and Japan's,
yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
know, do you see that kind of difference? Like, was it palpable?
I wish I could tell you, but I wasn't on the exhibition
Oh, you're
hall
so
too much.
busy with the
I was too
partnering.
busy yes,
Ah,
it's too bad because I was just in meetings, just one after another.
right, right.
And, and even where I had some slots open, I'd have people, ping me on LinkedIn, go, "Oh, you open?" And then I go,
Yeah.
"Wow, the only slot I have is here." And okay, let's meet at the front gate, for this or that. And I ended up really meeting like every half hour was slot was taken
Wow.
during the 2.5 days I was there.
Very good. So these
Yeah.
are
So
U.S. companies you're representing, correct?
yes,
Yeah.
correct, correct.
And
And
these are
so
Japanese, where the clients mainly, or the interested parties
yeah,
mainly Japanese companies to in-license it into Japan. Is that?
yes. So well, obviously, being in Japan, I try to target the Japanese companies, BDs, or the VCs.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did mainly. And I also had companies that saw what I put up
Yeah.
on my profile and said, "Oh, I'd like to, see this asset."
Yeah.
So that also happened. So that's,
Okay.
went both ways, but it's mostly me trying to get a meeting with, the Otsukas and the
Yeah.
Taisho and all the big guys.
Right.
And
Right.
a few of them, I had a few like consultants or vendors, CDMOs,
Yeah.
try to talk to me to see if I
Right.
have any business for them. That also came up a few times.
Let me ask you this. So
Go ahead.
I posted about Catalyst recently, and they've had
Yes,
two successful
my
um,
goodness.
acquirers, right?
Exit season.
Yeah, and wonderful. So there's that business model, which in terms of Catalyst, I guess it's a venture VC that's
Hmm.
licensing foreign assets to bring into Japan,
Yes,
specific to the Japan market, and then now they have an
yes,
exit.
yes.
And the purchaser or acquirer is also interested in the Japan market. Do you
Hmm.
see that as kind of the prevalent trend in your meetings, where most of the interest in these Japanese companies is to in-license for the domestic market rather than the global market? So regional
I
rates, I guess, is
Okay, yeah. I think that depends on the companies.
you know,
Like I had, more domestic, like, you know, the it's the focus of the company, I think, because some of these big pharmas have lots of operations outside of Japan, and they would be licensing for, the world, like globally,
yeah,
including Japan. But
right,
some of the companies that don't have, a footprint outside of Japan, they're really looking to in license for Japan. So it's I wouldn't say there's a trend. I don't know.
yeah, yeah, okay. Yeah, no, I mean, but I think it's probably worth talking, that people think about acquisitions, but I think Japan, there is a strategy where you license regional rights to not just
Mhm.
Japan, but based out of Japan, Asian regional rights. So usually crosses over to like South Korea, I guess Taiwan and China as well sometimes, where it is a very viable strategy to get, if you're a small biotech or whatnot, to basically license out regional rights, and
Yeah,
partner,
why
or
not?
get funded that way. And that's kind of what, similar to, I guess, these region. I'm reminded of this strategy, I guess, from Catalyst Pacific, as well as some other deals that have been going around.
Hmm. And I was told that Catalyst's strategy is to try to go for these drug lag
Yeah,
compounds, bring it in and develop those. It's kind of like a sure play, right? It's already approved outside of Japan. It's got
yeah,
a protocol. All you need is get the license, get that protocol, so tweak it for Japan and run the study.
yeah.
So, but I don't know how, I haven't really looked at the indications that they were looking at other than like sleep apnea and a few sleep related
Yeah,
drugs,
I think there was sleep
and
apnea,
Renalys.
see, maybe.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then with the renal, it's glomerular investigators, basically IgA, and then
Mhm.
focal segmental, um, and Alport syndrome, et cetera, et cetera. So I mean,
Okay.
yeah, and it's approved outside already,
Mhm.
and not
So
in
so
Japan.
those would satisfy the criteria of drug lag
Yes.
and okay. So that works because I've been told by some that the reason why there's a drug lag, or at least the list of drugs that they show for the drug lag have low investment value in Japan.
Yeah.
And so that's why companies are not licensing them to develop in Japan.
Right.
I don't know. So they're
Yeah.
saying, never really. Yeah.
Right. Well, and then I mean, I guess if you're not a global player already and haven't been involved in Japan before, the hurdle in Japan just seems higher, as compared to like
It's a bit.
European countries,
Yeah.
etc. The stuff we talk about, the cultural
Yeah.
gap, and the stuff we talked about with Suzanne, right?
Yep.
Yeah, all that kind of like, people are afraid to do that. And then the other thing is commercialization as well. Like yes, you
Yeah.
could go,
It's
the regulatory stuff could get taken care of, but once you get approved, then who takes care of
mhm.
marketing? So, there's several different considerations, and unless you're, Eli Lilly or Pfizer or Novartis, and you already have a footprint in Japan,
Mhm.
know if Viatris or the other Travere, I guess, were the ones we're talking about with Catalyst.
Yeah.
The Catalyst had licensed, if they had any kind of footprint in Japan or experience in Japan.
No idea.
Yeah,
No idea.
but it is a way to enter Japan and
Exactly.
fund it.
It's a great case study.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, two, two out of three, like, or two exits in like what, 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
yeah, 2 weeks. Yeah, 3 weeks. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah. The
pretty.
third one, Mineralis, is like, I believe
Yeah.
it's basically worldwide. They're looking for worldwide approval there, so it's a
Okay.
different type of play.
Yeah. I'm looking for my first win. I've got a few companies where kind of in talks here and there, but I don't have an exit or a buyout
Right,
or
right, right.
licensing.
Yeah, you'll stop the pod live stream as soon as that happens, probably.
I'll be the first one to let everybody know.
Yeah.
But
So Bio Japan.
things are
So that
moving.
was 2.5 days. You
There's
did
two
a
and a
lot
half
of
days,
meetings. Where'd you go
lots
after
of
that?
meetings. I've talked to maybe 30, 40 companies during
Yeah.
that time, like, formally in those partnering and also with, evening events and whatnot. And yeah, so and a few companies, a good 5 to 10 companies for each of my four clients that had a follow-up where I send them the slides, and, more follow-up
Yeah.
discussions. And we're still kind of in that right now. So.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's
Great.
good for me. It's one thing to have something for my clients, but also I'm making a new connection for myself, or
Yeah.
solidifying my network, and so that's kind of it's
Right.
kind of a way to invest in my network,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That's why I've reached out to a few companies that are good friends, and that I know they trust what I do, and you know just charge them a little bit to cover my travel costs over the 6 months, 6 weeks. But that's pretty much it. Other than that, it's investing in my network. Now
Yeah.
I've got a better network than before BioJapan.
Yeah.
And if I do this a few times, few iterations, uh, it'll be better.
Yeah. So after Yokohama, where did you end up?
So after Yokohama, I this is October 10th is the Friday. That evening, there was like a networking event organized by the CIC, the same
This is a
CIC that's in
venture
Boston.
cafe.
But
Is
yes,
that
yes,
like
kind of,
Cambridge?
yes,
Yeah.
correct, correct. So it's the same CIC, but now CIC Japan.
Yeah.
Uh, it's kind of like an incubator. Like they've got companies in their their office buildings, but not in Japan. Japan is only offices, from the way I understand it. They're still kind of building it as we speak.
Mm.
And that was fun. There was a dinner, folks from Astellas and CIC and Bio Community. Uh, nothing, nothing planned, but it was fun just to meet some of these people, and through that I got to know CIC, the members of CIC, and next year, like bullpen, right? That I am part of. I'm trying to set something up for them too. So that sort of helped with the discussion through CIC. Potentially, next year during the Bio Japan time, possibly do something with them or them and other companies. You know, Either way, another great, uh, great connections. Also,
Yeah.
some nice, fun people to drink with
No.
uh,
Uh-huh.
that I met.
Well, the
That
important
was
question
a
also
Friday
is:
night.
did you find any people that are willing to appear as guests on our live stream?
Oh, that's a good call.
Yeah.
Yes, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I can think of a few people that we could pull up. You know, the the girl running the CSC Tokyo, her name's Ayano, uh, and she's a fun person.
Yeah.
So maybe I could ask her. Um, and this friend that I met from Astelas, the new friend that I made, he's a pretty cool guy. He's more a CMC guy, not really DB
Mm.
or anything, but he lived in the States for a while, so he speaks really good English. I'm gonna go off to a sidetrack a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's just so funny because he used to live in Boston, and my first boss when I joined ASI was in Boston when he was living in Boston. He was it's a friend. I was kind of going out with
Yeah.
my my ex boss's daughter. So
Oh, wow.
so he told me, well, this person, and so we took a picture together, and I sent it to my ex boss. He said, this is my new friend, and then ex boss writes back, who is this? I didn't remember him. I'm so sad. But then through a few hints and left and right, and then
Yeah.
it just so happens that his daughter was back home at that time.
Wow.
Uh, we were able to figure out, oh, that's the kid. But
Small world.
we're so connected. We're so connected. It's just
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. Wow. So
So
that's true.
it was
Like in a way,
nice.
biotech and
Friday night.
pharma become like a
What's that?
very small world. I was saying like, biotech and pharma, it
Hmm.
seems like this huge um, industry slash world, but like once you
Hmm.
start really getting involved, you start
Hmm.
seeing the same faces and
Yes,
recognizing people.
absolutely.
It's smaller
Absolutely.
at the same time, while it's big.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, oh, I'm gonna go off on another tangent.
yeah.
Um, Before I started learning music, or before drumming, I'm a drummer. Like I play some drums. I used to think jazz is such a huge world, like a huge range of music that learning about jazz would be really hard. But then I took a little course in jazz, and I found out, the key members, the Duke Ellingtons and the John Coltrane's and the Herbie Hancock. So the key names, they come back, and they're like the people who really shaped the genre, you know, per se. And that's how I feel with any
Mm,
industry. We have the key players, but I'm still at that phase where um, I'm looking at each asset modality and each buyout still kind of like it's still just like bits and pieces. I
right.
can't connect them very well yet. So It's been a year and a half that I've been doing this, so I'm hoping that within the next year or two, I'd be able to sort of go, oh, that thing that happened 3 years ago, now it's become this,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you know, I don't have that fluidity yet.
Well, you did
Every
that
day is
with,
new.
with Catalyst. You did that in the sense that I wrote about their Renalis
Mhm.
exiting. You're like, no, a few days ago they had
Yeah,
something else. So like we're
yes,
starting to
yes,
kind of like pick up on,
correct.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
So I'm starting. I'm starting. And I'm hoping to be like, Vincent Ling. You know Vincent Ling? Uh,
Oh yeah,
from
yeah, yeah.
Morse.
I do.
He's the
Well, I
VP from
do
Morse.
know of him. I don't know him.
Okay, well, oh my God, this guy, he just knows everything.
Oh,
Like what he writes on LinkedIn
oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
is
definitely.
so deep, and his analyses are just spot on. But anyways, shout out
Yeah,
to Vince. But that kind of thing, hopefully in 5, 10 years,
yeah,
be somewhere there. Go no, that
yeah,
deal.
yeah.
But
Right.
anyways, so Bio Japan's done. Yokohama's done. I'm back in Tokyo. But that Saturday, the October 11th, I went to it's Imoni. Imoni is like cooking potatoes.
Yams,
Imoni
yams.
basically is something that they do in the Northeast, in Fukushima and Yamagata, that area. It's famous for that. I didn't know. Like many of the participants also didn't know. But they basically rented a space for barbecue uh, along the river, and we all went there, met some new folks from the JHIH. So it's an online community called Japan Healthcare Innovation. What's the last stage? I don't know what the last stage is. But lots of folks that I didn't know, a little younger, but startups, VCs, um, really cool. Mostly medtech, more medtech oriented. Um, but still, it was really cool. Just nice afternoon drinking and eating, and then I met another potential collaborator from one of my clients. Just so happens he was in the same industry with the same type of it was women's health, and I showed them the asset. He said, wow, okay. And so right after I sent him the slides, and he's gonna check it out, and another connection, another good connection that may or may not pan out, but who knows?
Hmm.
That's business development, right? I mean, you can't
Yeah, it
promise
is.
everything's gonna work.
Right.
It's like 10 hits. I mean, 10 shots and maybe one hit,
Yeah. Even
or maybe
even
that.
that is good. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I've shot like 40, 50 times for each of my,
Right. 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 Yeah.
my companies. So
Yeah.
hopefully something will hit. But
Right.
anyway, so that was that money event, and then that night was drinking again. It's just a bit of a blur, but just drinking, man. Oh, goodness. And then October 14th is Tuesday, right? What did I do on October 13th? October 13th is a public holiday in Japan. I don't think I did much, maybe just worked. But October 14th, took a flight to Korea to participate at the BioPlus Interfex uh, event. First time I've been there. But it turned out to be like 95% plus vendors and suppliers, and not
Hmm.
only that, we're not even talking about full of CDMOs and well, assay vendors and whatnot, but we're talking like actual machineries uh,
Oh,
and culture media vendors. It's like quite far from what I do.
yeah.
Not even like academia or at least some science. It's really like suppliers, mostly
Mm.
suppliers. And plus, it was 95% Korean.
Yeah.
Um, a few US companies, and the Canadian group of 10 was actually a big group, like
Wow.
the Quebec delegation. I went out with them also. But unfortunately, that event per se did not lead to much connections for me or for my clients. But I did meet my ex-colleagues at ASI and Covance. So I met my ex-boss from Covance for the first time in person
Oh wow.
in Korea. Yeah, I was in Japan and I was in Taiwan at that time. She was my boss in Korea. And then I also met some colleagues from ASI. I don't know if I told you about this. ASI has a product called Halaven. It's a breast cancer, third line breast cancer drug. And it was approved in the US, Japan, and EU at the same time in 2010 or 11, somewhere around there. And I was part of the team to do the expansion to other countries in Asia Pac. And the first one we went for was Korea. However, my Korean regulatory colleagues told me that they had already talked to the KFDA about relevant expansion in Japan, in Korea, and that we needed a bridging study because we didn't have any Korean
Mm.
patient data. But they sent me all the regulations and whatnot. We were going through that, and we thought we had a case for a waiver.
Mm.
We had Japanese patient data, and it was a very high unmet need, and also we were significantly increasing the quality of life through a 30-second injection, subcutaneous injection, rather than an infusion over hours. So all that to say, I wanted to try again with the KFDA for a waiver, although had so some back and forth with the regulatory guys because they knew that I mean, they've already tried, right? But they were insisting on the bridging study, so I said, okay, let's do the bridging study. I'll set it up. Please just reserve a meeting with the KFDA so we can talk about the bridging study. But give me a few minutes just before that to let me make my case for the waiver. And so yeah, that's how it was positioned. And I went to Korea a few days before the KFDA meeting, and we built the slides. I mean, I built the slides and I gave it to my Korean colleagues, and she translated it into Korean, and I had her do the presentation in Korean. But all the points are, the points that we wanted to hit. And she gave the presentation on the waiver first. I still remember the agent, looks at us and goes, "Yeah, you have a waiver. Set up your NDA." And
Nice.
we were able to overturn the the negative, the negative response the first time
Yeah.
from KFDA and save the company, a bridging study
Yeah.
and 2 3 years of peak sales,
Yeah.
right? So
Nice.
that was
That's a
a
win.
great achievement. That is a huge win for
Yeah.
ASI these days. And then I did the same thing. I just copy paste, went to Taiwan, but this time I gave the presentation to the TFDA, the
Right.
Taiwanese FDA, in Chinese, and that got through right away. So those were my last achievements at ASI before I left the company.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, those were the fun days. But anyways, I met my ex-colleagues. I
Yeah.
want to say I met my ex-colleagues from
Uh,
ASI. Oh, we reminisce on those days. It was incredible. The achievement,
right.
yay! Have a
Yeah.
drink. That was fun. That was fun. So at least I had that for the trip to Korea to show
Yeah.
for. And then I came back to Narita on the 18th after 2 days of event over there, and I stayed overnight in Narita. And the 19th, my father came in from Taiwan. We met in Montreal, in Narita to take the flight to Montreal. So we flew
How
to
long is the flight
Montreal.
from Japan to Montreal or Narita?
Japan to Montreal is almost 12 hours.
Okay.
Montreal to Japan, it's a little longer. It's almost 13 hours. So we did that flight in Montreal. I put my father on a shuttle to go home. And then I took the next flight out to Amsterdam. And then a few hours after that to Copenhagen. So my trip was from Narita to Montreal to Amsterdam to Copenhagen. That's 30
Wow.
hours. It took me 30 hours which is it's acceptable considering the distance I traveled
Right.
and the stops I made. Uh, and so I arrived on the night of afternoon of the 20th, then 21st, 22nd. I participated at this event called OCT, so Outsourcing Clinical Trials is
Mm.
what it stands for. Again, like Korea, it was mainly vendors, but at least now this is clinical trial related vendors. So this would be EDCs and the IVRS and the AI suites of uh, the clinical trial enhancing vendors and your usual Parexel, so Fortria, all the big
Yeah.
IQVIA, those guys, and the clinical trial supply vendors also quite a lot of those. So once again, I'm not very useful for my clients. I made a few contacts, which is nice. But they had 2 days worth with 2 tracks of presentations. So some of those were really really cool.
Mm.
So I learned uh, learned the latest in applying AI to clinical trials and how to
Yeah.
save time here or increase the quality there and that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And so that was 21st, 22nd of October. And then 23rd of October, I flew back a little bit to Amsterdam. But work is done. I just stopped by at a friend's place. Um, this this lady with whom I was running another live on LinkedIn called Raising Multilinguals Live. I was doing that since 2020 to 24, summer of 2024. So first time I met her in person after
Mm.
5 years of working together.
Wow.
So that was really nice. Just to spend the day visiting a little bit and having a nice dinner, and some talks about bilingual children.
All right.
And then 24th, I finally came back to Montreal. So the morning flight, no, actually noon flight from Copenhagen. Oh, not Copenhagen, Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Amsterdam to Montreal, and then I arrived
Finally.
home
Yeah.
home at my home at 5 p.m. And 7:30 p.m. I was on the ice playing ice hockey with my beer league guys. And then 12 p.m. well 12 midnight to 5 a.m. There was this event in Japan called the PDSS the Japan PDSS pharmaceutical something I forget what it is,
Mm.
but lots of great presentations. So I stayed up for that. That was pretty rough.
Wow.
That was pretty rough. Stayed up for that. Next morning from 9:30, we left home to go to La Ronde, which is a big amusement park in Montreal with the kids. So right back into the routine with the kids and had lots of fun. That was
Wow.
Saturday.
How else would you get them to recognize you again after being away for 40 days?
Indeed,
Yeah.
indeed, trying to um, yeah, catch up within the next few days really
Yeah.
quickly. And speaking of catch up, I gotta go pretty soon to
Yeah.
catch my son. He's playing hockey right now, so
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go pick him up. But hey. And
Now
now
you're
we're
back.
right.
Now
Now
we're back
we're,
with full force. We skipped a few weeks, but
that's right.
be back to regular.
Back to regular.
Yep.
Let's think about our next week's guest.
Yes. Let's
Alrighty.
let's do that. All right. Good to have you
Uh,
back.
Thank you so much. And let's catch up again next
Sure.
week.
Sounds good. All right.
Uh,
Thank you,
all
everyone.
right, take care, everybody. See you. Bye bye. There's something I'm not doing right here. Okay, here we go. Bye bye for